Hey Eurovision fans, Klemen will represent Slovenia in Eurovision 2025 with his song How Much Time Do We Have Left. I'm going to listen and react to the live performance, give you my analysis of the song, the artist and the staging, and see could Slovenia get their third qualification in a row in Eurovision. So, let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom, I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So before we react to the live performance, let's first talk about Emma this year. I didn't cover it because first of all the songs were released very late, and second of all I wasn't able to download the song. So obviously to make my national final videos I need to be able to take the song to put it into my video, and they made it pretty much impossible to do so. So not a massive fan of how Emma was organized this year. On top of that, the system of Emma I think is absolutely crazy, where you have 12 songs, 10 of them are eliminated by a jury and then the public votes on 2. Why do we have to watch 12 performances when we can only potentially vote on about 2 of them? It seems like this bizarre voyeuristic internal selection that we watch and then it just doesn't make any sense to me. Just overall, I wasn't super happy with Emma this year. I preferred Slovenia when they internally selected. I thought that was working really well for them. I understand there was a controversy last year with Raven and how she was selected, so they kind of had to do an Emma this year. But look, Slovenia go back to internal selection. This was such a total mess. National final. So yeah, I didn't cover it. This is one of the very few I didn't cover this year. In the end, the winner was Klemen, singing How Much Time Do We Have Left. He's 39. He comes from Brežica in Slovenia. I was in Slovenia last year. I was in Celje. I visited the castle where Veronica was imprisoned. And yet Klemen is a pretty big name in the country. He's an actor, singer, comedian, TV host, musician. He hosted M in 2020 and he did a very famous medley of all the previous Slovenian entries. He did a similar thing this year with Winners, which had a very mixed and controversial reception. And my understanding about this song is that it's about his wife who was diagnosed with a form of cancer, and the song is saying how much time have we got left together. Luckily she fully recovered from that cancer. So this is a very personal song. I believe it's a ballad. I've had 0 spoilers of the song. I have seen that there's something involving him being upside down in the staging. I saw that on Twitter. I couldn't unsee it. But in terms of the song, I've heard absolutely nothing. Of course I do my Eurovision scoreboard series and I've seen that this is last place, but I take that with a pinch of salt. I know that the Eurovision scoreboard community doesn't prefer men, doesn't prefer low tempo or ballad songs. So I'm not going to let that affect my opinion. I'm going to tell you what I actually think about the song and whether I like it or not. Okay, I'm going to be reacting to the live performance of this. I will leave as much of the original audio and visuals in as I'm allowed to. If I need to make changes, I'll put it up onto my Patreon. Reminder now, make sure you're subscribed. We've got lots of videos coming up now. I'm working on this and then I'm working on Malta, Italy, Lithuania, Latvia, Greece. Lots of videos coming up. Make sure you subscribe or you're going to miss out and then your life will be miserable. Okay, this is Klemen singing How Much Time Do We Have Left? What I know my secret bang. Okay, I'm interested to see this now. Okay, so it's got very personal lyrics. Very beautiful starting now of this standing in the starscape. He looks a little bit, his makeup's too overdone. He looks a little bit like a wax figure. So styling needs to be a little bit different. But he's got good poise. That camera cut was very slick. Like, it's gonna fill the male ballad niche if anyone wants that this year. Song sounds kind of fine, a little bit mid. It's soft. He's emoting very well. I don't know how strong the melody is. And he's got good connection with the camera now. I think there are certain people who are going to appreciate this very genuine. Okay, so he's talking about the lyrics are interesting now because he is telling a personal story. Okay, I think these guys are going to flip him upside down. Yeah, they are. Do you know what? It is something. I say ballads have to have some staging. This is some staging. That's really going to get people's attention. And he's still singing pretty well. He hasn't got a particularly strong voice. It's clean though. He's not losing it. That's your staging done. Like, and it's going to look bigger in Switzerland as well. I don't think this is as bad as people are saying. It is more the charisma and the staging over the song though. I'll admit that. But he's really like delivering. He's really serving. This isn't half-assed at all. Okay, the ability to heal, get rid of that. He's to make sure it doesn't go to Ari Olafsson. Yeah, this choreo part now is a bit weak. It's feeling less authentic now. But there's some nice things here. I like the space behind it, giving this sense of like philosophy. It would be good to get some sort of images, maybe some personal photos, or just to connect the storyline. That's a good note. Yeah, the melody's not strong. I think the other parts of it though do have something to grab onto. Okay. That's interesting now. Look, my expectations were rock bottom. I'm going to go in for a second listen. I'll give you my initial thoughts and then I'll go in for a second listen, focusing more on the song without talking. My initial impression is much better than I expected because my expectations were very low. Bottom of the Eurovision scoreboard, everyone's hating on this. He had this little PR nightmare when he released that last video. I'll say now he's very good on stage. That's probably the key thing I picked out. He's very good emoting, good connection with the camera. The lyrics have a personal touch to them. I'm not saying the lyrics are perfect. They can be a little bit clunky sometimes, but you can tell that he's written it himself and it's about a personal story. Now, I did know it was about his wife before going in. So I do think they need to make super clear what the storyline is about. And they can do that on the LEDs. They can show pictures of them together. That's something that's been done before, but maybe they could think of a new way to do it. But just tie in, he's singing about this other person. There's particular lyrics that stand out, like the man in the white coat with all the diplomas trying to work out the problem. Stuff like that can just add layers to the performance. I don't think this is dead in the water. The flipping upside down thing, I always say if you're going to come with a ballad, don't just stand there and do nothing. And he has done something here. His world has been turned upside down. He's turned upside down to represent that, the possible loss of his partner. I think there's a lot of people who are going to really find a connection with the meaning of the song. Everybody in the world has lost someone that they love, whether it be a partner or a parent or a grandparent. So there's a lot of people who can find a connection to this. Definitely feels unique in that it's got a sincerity, it's got a depth to it, it's very personal, it feels vulnerable. That's why I didn't like when the choreography came in, because then it made it feel less personal and vulnerable. It felt, oh, okay, this is the performance being put on and someone's told him to go like this and go like that, and that feels more artificial. Yeah, so that took me out of that mood a little bit when he did that. The background looks cool. We're getting some lots of lights and we're getting space and talking about life and death. So I think that ties in with it. I think he sang very well. He did get a jury note in it. I don't think his voice is incredibly strong, but it's solid enough. For ballads, you do kind of associate them with being with the stronger singers because it allows them to show off their voice more. My gut instinct is, yeah, I agree that this is more likely than not to non-qualify. I wouldn't say it's absolutely out yet at all, especially with what happened last year with Don's. I will say Don's Hollow had a stronger melody. That song had a quite instant appeal. I remember even the first time hearing it, I was like, this is a great song. Now, obviously that I was trying to take in the song and the staging at the same time, which is difficult, which is why I'm going to go in for a second listen now to focus just on the song. But yeah, initial impressions are, it feels real and authentic, and I think a lot of people are going to connect with that. Let me go in for a second listen and then we'll talk about what they might need to do in order to make this work in Basel. Okay, just have my second listen there. The song feels kind of mid. I'm not going to download that. I'm not going to listen to it. I don't think the song is enough strength on its own. But I think that there are some people who's going to like that. Are enough of those going to be watching Eurovision? I don't know. There are parts of the song where it really feels like he's written it himself, which he has. Some of those lyrics, you've given the diagnosis that you're going to die, the men in the white coats, feel super, super personal. And like I said, those moments where he goes heel and then when you fly and it feels like choreography put on him, then it starts to look like someone who hasn't written the song. So I feel this duality in the song where sometimes I feel like this is super authentic, he wrote this, and other times I'm like, is this something that someone else wrote and he's just performing it? Because I wouldn't do a Goofy Wings thing if I'm talking about my wife dying. I think there needs to be some editing in the choreography. The flip bit is really, really cool, but then there's nothing else towards the end. So you get this flip in the middle, which I think is a really, really good metaphor for how he's feeling, but then something needs to happen at the end as well to finish it off, because it feels like it peaks in the middle. And I'm going to show you this graphic now because YouTube actually shows you the part of the song that people watch the most. And if you look, it's in the middle when he flips upside down, and then you can see the interest in the rest of the song going down. So he needs something else at the end to kind of finish well and leave a really good impression in people's mind. Give us a conclusion to the story. Aeva had her song in The Year with the Bridge, 2018, When We're Old, and in the end her husband walked onto the stage. This would be a really, really perfect time for his wife to walk on. Now, whether she wants to do that or not, I don't know, or if people think that's a bit too fake. He could get an actress to come in as well if she doesn't want to do it. But if she comes onto the stage and they hug or something at the end, that could be a real moment that will get a lot of people teary at home. Like I said, this is such a universal theme. You know, in most Eurovisions, we get a lot of songs which are about absolutely nothing. This is actually pretty good, by the way. I'd seen like lyrical content in the songs which have been selected. There's some really interesting variety in topics. It's not just love from above. Yeah, he's good on stage. Get rid of the goofy choreography. Make everything a bit bigger. I think the song potentially could have a little bit of a revamp as well. That would just add in a little bit more flurry, a bit more excitement. The melody for me is a little bit weak. I can't remember it. I've listened to it twice now. The second time I was completely silent. I still can't remember it. It's enjoyable to sit through, and I think there are generations who will really like this. It needs a proper ending. Something to happen. Also, his styling, I don't like at all. It's nothing. It's not giving me any storyline or anything. LEDs, I think we need some pictures or some more, a little bit more story explanation. The guys that come onto the stage also dressed as nothing. Why not dress them up as something? I'm not saying you have to dress them up as doctors with freaking clipboards, you know, with a diagnosis written on it, but something like they're characters who come onto the stage, make them into something instead of two guys who just kind of stand there, make sure that he's still, and then leave again. The bridge in this is actually quite nice. That's a bit where we get the close up of him and he's kind of looking, and that's actually a strong bit, which is why it's such a shame that it's followed up by the wings bit, because the wings bit I think is so freaking goofy. So look, if this is edited and has some good decision making, I don't think you can write this off. Let's just go to qualification. Can this qualify? I think this has potential. Definitely needs to be elevated. Like that current package, no, but add in more grandiosity and in more bigness, which you can do with the Eurovision stage. I think an actress at the end could tie things together. Something has to happen at the end. Improve the costumes, get rid of some of the choreography, keep the bits where he feels super authentic staring down the camera. He has got some good acting and charisma. And you know, maybe just needs a little bit of luck as well. If this ends up being the only male ballad, let's have a look at semi-final number 1 right now. And we can see, you know, like in this first half, we've got Tommy Cash and Vibe and Justina all going absolutely batshit crazy, which I love. And then you've also got Zifferblatt as well. So right now, he's totally in his own category. Portugal's definitely going to cramp his style because Portugal also does cool and calm, especially if they pick Josh. I think Josh is going to like really upstage him. I haven't seen Josh's performance yet, but that song is a much stronger melody and it's more delicate and it's more original. This is like quite a standard ballad. If Portugal chooses Josh, I think Klemen really needs to be hoping he's at the end of the first half and Josh is near the start, which I don't think Josh would be. Now, that's only an issue if Portugal chooses Josh. If Portugal chooses Henka, that's going to make a huge difference because then you've got Tommy Cash, Vibe, Justina, and Henka going crazy in the first half. And then you have Klemen, who looks like a moment of sanity, with Zifferblatt as well. But Zifferblatt has a little bit more energy and a little bit more of an ethnic feel. So it could be a little bit of luck in here. He needs to make himself totally unique in this first half to be remembered. You can qualify as a ballad from the first half. Serbia have done it last year. Alika was 4th in the running order and she qualified as well, although she was in 10th. Aya should have qualified, also 4th in the running order. That came 11th. It would have qualified if it had been in the second half. I'm absolutely sure about that. Bit of luck involved in here. If he brings in a big prop, he might get more likely to be put towards the ad break because they like to give themselves extra time with props. So it might be good for him to have a huge prop like Don's did last year. But yeah, I'm hesitant to write off these songs because like I said, Don's was absolute bottom of the odds to qualify last year. I think he was 8-1. And he did qualify, and I'd written him off as well. So there are people who want this sentimentality from a man. And we know this as well because Italy also often send male ballads with strong lyrics. This is obviously not as strong a melody or as big a star as Italy, but it's a similar genre. So we know that there are people who like this. Okay, if it makes it through to the final, how will this do? I think televote wise, it'll get some points from other countries in Southeast Europe, but I think that'll be it. I think otherwise it'll be bottom 5 in the televote. And then jury potentially getting some points, especially if that jury note is clean and the performance looks very slick and well versed and well put together. I think that this could be around mid-table with the jury. I don't think that's Slovenia's concern right now. I think their concern is qualifying from the first half of what many people are saying is the more difficult semi-final. They have a 2 qualification record. They have a very worrying pattern since 2014 where they qualified 2 times, didn't qualify 2 times, qualified 2 times, didn't qualify 2 times, qualified 2 times. So theoretically, if the pattern continues, we get 2 non-qualifications. Of course, the pattern means absolutely nothing. It's just a bit of fun. But if you made me guess right now, I would say this is probably a non-qualification. Definitely wouldn't say it's out. I'd say it's a borderline no right now. Semi-final with only 15 people, most of the songs are going through anyway. And San Marino here, who are typically weak. But like generally looking at this list, a lot of people are hitting big this year. There's a lot of interesting stuff. There's a very interesting semi-final in terms of variety. Like there's very little overlap. I think the only overlap is Cyprus and Norway both having dark, dancey boys. If Portugal chooses Josh, this kills Klemen. For me, it's just over. I think it'd be so hard for him to recover. If Portugal chooses Henka, I think that helps Klemen a whole bunch. Sweden are also in this half as well, most likely going to be sending Måns. So he's the only ballad in this first half if Henka and Måns go. That could be huge for him as well. Could be a little bit of a surprise. We always get a surprise in each semi-final every single year. Overall, though, Slovenia haven't been top 10 since 2001. Nusha Derenda saying energy. I felt they were on a good trajectory in the last 2 years with Joker and Raven doing an internal selection. I felt that they'd find something that worked for them. Yes, they got 21st and 23rd in the final, but I still thought that they looked incredible. Huge fans' favourites. I felt like those were the stepping stones towards Slovenia finding their feet and finally getting another top 10. I feel like this is a slight regression now. Could this come top 10? I'm not saying it's impossible. It'd be a pretty big shock. Let's be real. It would be like a massive shock that this is the song that after 24 years Slovenia get their first top 10. But yeah, I think that Slovenia next year should go back to their internal selection personally. Klemen's asking how much time do we have left. Tom's asking how much longer do I have to wait for Slovenia to be in the top 10 again. Okay, that's what I thought about Klemen singing for Slovenia. What did you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. No new donations on PayPal or Buy Me a Coffee, but if you want to support the channel, I'll leave a QR code for you here and also a link in the description. And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons for patronizing me from all around the world. On my Patreon, you can get the original audio, early releases, you can give me the credits, you can support the channel's existence. But of course, thank you so much just for being here, and I've seen another Eurovision analysis video very, 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 very soon. Goodbye.